So we're going to be at, where is it? 211 North Tampa Street.
Yeah, I know where that is exactly. I think it's I think it's the used to be the Hyatt. I think it's another hotel now, but
So good afternoon, everybody. As they get their GPS coordinates straightened around, good afternoon. Thank you for coming to a holiday version, Halloween version of Denny's Mastery. URL, if you're watching by Zoom, YouTube, you want to come join us live, it's dennysmastery.com. It's every Friday from 1 to 2 Eastern time. And here it's really your time. And we delve into some conversations. And one of the things I would like to be able to help you with, if you want it, is that I like you guys to be the star of the show. However, sometimes you might want to hear from me, or you might want to hear from Louise, or etc. So you'll have to let us know. I know that one time when we get when we have where is he? Robert, when Robert comes on, if he does come on, we're going to do a little bit more in depth of a conversation, because he challenged me during Recon, which is our morning call, as you many of you guys know. He had a seller that basically, is there anything else you can do besides lower the price? And we have sellers like that all over the place in Florida. Like, we have more sellers like that than mosquitoes. And I was kind of like direct, and he says, "Are you always that blunt?" And on Recon, I am, because I'm just trying to get a couple of points across. But I would probably, I would take 7 minutes or so to have the conversation I would have with a little bit better bedside manner. So if Robert pops on, we can do that. But short of that, what would you like to get skilled in? You can either give me an objection you would like to get better at. I'll give you my version of it. Be difficult. I don't really care. There's nothing you can give me that will stump me. No, I'm not attempting to be kind of like a Muhammad Ali with a big ego or whatever. I mean, he could back it up for sure. But I can't be stumped, because there are no words to change someone that is ironclad not going to do something. Does that make sense? So to me, I give it my best shot to help them see if they want to go ahead and go head first into a swimming pool with no water. And if I can't give them the downside of doing that, well, I hope it's a shallow pool. So Louise, who is in the chat, would like to. John hand, what a great name. Hey, if I had your name, I said, let me lend you a hand in real estate.
Another one is Glenn Quicksall. You could get a quick sell with Glenn Quicksall.
Doing what?
It's Glenn Quicksall. Yes.
Quicksall. Oh, that could be quick sell.
No, Quicksall. Yep. I know, right? Quick draw.
But you can say get a quick sell when you use when you hire Glenn Quicksall.
And I get stuck.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Quick sell.
I get stuck with Grimes. In school, I was Greasy Grimy Gopher Guts. Okay, so it doesn't really lend itself to a real estate logo.
Where does Grimes come from, if you don't mind?
Say what?
Where does Grimes come from? I'm Romanian. Mine's, English. And
I think it's a German descent.
Oh, German. Okay.
Like Grimm. Maybe English.
Yeah. Okay, we have some hands up. Tanner and Susan, they have their hands up.
Let's go, Tanner.
All right, so Denny, you the agent, okay? I'm the buyer. We have an accepted offer in a house. We did inspection, and now I don't want to move forward because I feel there is a lot of things involved with the house.
Okay.
And I'll give you some pushbacks, just like a scenario that I lived through.
All right. So Tanner, we've gotten the all right. So first of all, I'm going to prep my buyers on the inspection process. It's kind of like let them know what's going to happen next. And again, we don't have context in this home. It could be a new home, old home, whatever. Maybe he's being unrealistic. Maybe he's not. I don't know if he's in the market, if he's a buyer or seller's market. All of those things, I want you guys to understand, what would all of those things affect the conversation you would have? So right now I'm hopping into a situation that I would handle in Florida. We're in a buyer's market. And all right, so Tanner, the next step in the process is a home inspection. Can I tell you what they're going to find?
Yeah, please.
Sure. So be prepared that when you get the inspection report, it will be thick, but most everything we need to know will be on about 2 pages. The inspector is going to find issues that, or may find issues that are contractual, meaning, or have something to do that would be a major electrical or heating or cooling. We certainly want to pay attention to those. And in our contract, other than the as is, there's certain things in the contract that the seller's obligated. The inspector will point those out. The second category of things the inspector is going to find are minor issues that, you know, it would take a handyman to fix a pocket door, or there's a little tear in the screen, or maybe a cracked tile. Generally, those types of items, a handyman can fix for a few $100s, but they're not major structural issues. And third, the inspector may point out some things that are clearly not covered in the contract. In our contract, it lists several things. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for
So
sharing.
I think number one, the inspection, well, first of all, understand the psychology that would happen when a buyer finally gets a home under contract, particularly in a buyer's market. Are they super excited, or are they like thinking, oh my, did I do the right thing? In a buyer's market where they have more inventory each and every day they wake up, there seems to be a better buy. They're already wondering, did I do the right thing? Yeah. And regardless, if you're buying in a seller's market, it's already going through the buyer's mind that they paid too much, particularly if you got into a bidding war. So what are they having? It's called buyer remorse, correct? Yeah. So what you want to do is you want to be aware of that, and you do your best to prepare them for what they're going to find. The other thing that happens is when a seller sells their home, particularly in a seller's market, they get seller remorse because they think they sold it for too low. They gave it away. So automatically, regardless if you're using an as is or a contract that has certain things in it that they have to do, people are more polarized a day or two after the transaction than during the negotiation. Does that make sense to you? Now, one size does not fit all the time, but I'm just telling you that you now are stepping into the annulment period. All right, so Tanner, we got the inspection report. So what I'm going to do, hey, Tanner, I got the inspection report. I'm going to send it over to you. Like I said, it looks like the Miami phone book, but don't let that worry you. There's just a couple of pages we're going to go over. And I'm going to let you take a look at it. And then we'll have a quick call, right?
Yeah.
Now, generally speaking, all right, so let's say that's happened. Now, some of you guys may not want to do that. You want to go over it. I like, this is the way I roll. If there's a bomb to go off, I want time for the dust to settle before I step into the conversation. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm doing. All right, Tanner, I've had a chance to look at the inspection report. Is there anything you want me to go over with you on?
Well, Denny, thank you. You know, Denny, after seeing the report and, you know, we were present during that inspection, we noticed that there's quite a bit things that need to be, you know, corrected in the house, and which kind of, you know, gives me like started to give me cold feet about it.
Okay. So what path would you like to take? Well, let me back up. So what items are giving you some concern?
So Denny, I don't know, the way the kitchen is set up, I'm not sure if it's the legal way to do, because they block the window. So we need to redo the whole kitchen pretty much, so we have more, you know, light. Then on the second floor, I saw in the bathroom there's like a hole. I'm not sure if it's.
Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. 1 second.
Tanner, just out of curiosity, when you go through the buyer's console, do you set expectation?
Yeah. The thing is, you know, Susan, I don't really prospect buyers. I only do sellers, and once in a while when I get buyers, I just, you know, I don't know, I just.
So I'm back. Sorry, I had a delivery guy here. So
Patience, you know, to do.
So what I'm not going to take your time to go through. I will take time and let them vent. I'm not going to take the 15 minutes right now to let them vent. So imagine all of that stuff is taken care of. So,
So after all, Danny, as you see, there's like quite a bit stuff that discourages us.
okay, well, what would you like to do next?
I don't know. I mean, you help me, you're the professional. I help you understand where I'm coming from.
So notice, again, I'm coaching this. I'm giving you what's going on in my mind while I'm having a role play. So just kind of pause, Tanner. He's not even here right now. He can't hear me. A lot of agents would be talk, trying to quote, sell them on this, or those things are minor, blah, blah, blah. I'm always in a seek to understand mode. I'm attempting to get clarity because what he says next is key. So now he's asking for my help on it. Well, okay, well, here are our options. First of all, probably the prudent thing to do is there anything on that report that cannot be corrected to your satisfaction?
Not really, just have to have money to be spent.
Okay. I'm going to ask you another question. And we're working together, so there's no wrong answer. Is it really about the inspection, or are you having second thoughts about this house? Now, I'm going to pause. Give me some feedback, you guys, on why I'm asking that question.
To measure the motivation.
Well, I want to know. This is kinda
Isolate.
go ahead.
Detached.
I want to know what I'm fighting. Is it
Isolate
buyer's
the investment.
remorse, or is it really the inspection report? Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah. It depends on if anything was found in the inspection report. If there are any negatives, it starts to get you thinking, how can I lower the price? What can I do differently? What can my agent do differently for me?
Yeah, well, he kind of went over the things that bothered him. So,
Yep.
So I haven't even gotten to that point yet.
No.
As far as maybe he's looking to renegotiate. That's what I'm going to find out. So, number one, Tanner, is can things in this report be corrected either by you or the seller that makes this house acceptable?
Yes.
Okay. And as we go through it, do you have an idea in mind? Would it be beneficial if you look through these and we quantify what it might take to correct?
That sounds like a good idea. That's
All right.
fine.
So now what I'm going to do, it's the same, it's the same, something different verse. You guys remember sometimes when we're talking about interest rates, what do? We take it to what? The dollar amount, the monthly payment. What I'm attempting to do is put a dollar sign on his concerns. Because if his concerns are legitimate, maybe they haven't bought a house before, they haven't bought a house in Florida, they're already apprehensive because the family says you don't want to live in Hurricane-Bill. So many, and they have a tendency to blow everything out of proportion. So if he still wants the house, we put a number on it, and let's say everything's going to be what? You guys tell me. You put in the chat for the houses you sold, wherever you are in the country. What has been, if you had to answer a question for the IRS, what is the average amount of corrections somebody has to do, a buyer or seller in a transaction? Put your number in there. I'm going to say probably 80% of my transactions that I have dealt with in my 40 years have less than $1,000 worth of stuff. Would you agree that, yes or no? Now in California, that'd be 10,000. I'm not hearing anybody, so I don't know.
You said, sorry, but you said repairs wouldn't be less than or more than 40,000?
I said 10.
10.
No. I was
You said
joking.
1,000.
No, 1,000.
Yeah.
The majority of the transaction I have done, 7,000 plus transactions. If you were to put them in a blender and pour it out, the average amount of corrections probably wouldn't be more than $1,000.
Wow, I don't know what kind of luck I've been having. Everyone's in the 40,000 to 60,000 repair.
And where are you, Nicole?
Wichita, Kansas?
Where?
Wichita, Kansas?
Yeah, well, it must be older homes. I don't know.
Oh, I think it's our foundation. We have clay soil.
Okay. All right. Well, Okay, so that's an outlier. I've never had an inspection that needed that much money, but that would be you could use the same model. All right. So as I move forward with that, so the question is, let's say it's $1,800, Tanner. So $1,800 is keeping you away from owning this house. We can move forward, and of course, you may not have to pay it, but the first step is, what if the seller would make those corrections? Would you move forward?
Well, we don't know if he's going to, but here's the thing, Denny. So they were asking 850. We offer 840. They accepted it, and now I feel if they give it to us for 800, I would take it.
Okay, so now, Glenn, now you can see what's coming up. See, the buyer thinks they have leverage, and there's $1,800 worth of repairs, and they want 20 grand for it. Does that sound familiar? I've heard that song before. So let me ask you this, okay? So it really isn't about the inspection, is it, Tanner?
I mean, both though,
If you get 20 grand, you're not worried about the inspection, are you?
No.
Now, I'm going to stop here. Robert's on the call. I think. You guys tell me, is that too direct?
Not at all.
Not at all.
What do you think, Susan? Was that too direct to ask him that?
I don't think so. Because you're putting I actually don't think so. I would use that.
Anybody think that? Ooh, I don't think I do that. Listen, we're on the same team. I'm the quarterback and he's running a route. I want us to be on the same page so we can make the connection, right? If
I think
I'm
it depends on the client, isn't it?
Pardon
Like lawyers and doctors, you cannot really talk to them like that because they will find another objective, but it kind of depends on the client.
Okay, a little bit. But
If
and
your
personality can
communication,
dictate. How
I
would
think-
you, wait a minute, how would you ask that?
I would still make them, I mean, you're absolutely right. Yeah, they are the ones who are making the choice. I don't know. That's why I'm here.
So
And
I
if-
would, for me, I had actually had an incident like this. It was the property was 1.5 and he wants to lower to 1.2. And I'm like, where do you get the difference between that? What kind of invoices? So that way, when I negotiate, I have something to stand up for. What are
Okay.
we going to create to have that $200,000 difference?
This is
Repairs.
right. Okay, so now you brought up the perfect point. This is how you would soften it if you want a softer way. Okay, well, here's the thing, Tanner. What we have to do is the seller is expecting, what'd you say? Not 840 or 820, I forget. 840. No, what'd you say? 820?
840, we had agreed price
Oh, 840. And you want to come down to what? 8 or 820?
800.
That's 40 grand. So the first question the other agent is going to ask me, the seller, how do you get 40 grand from the inspection report? So Tanner helped me defend that. So that's what Susan's saying. That would be a softer way. Listen, I'm on your side. They're going to ask me, so help me defend it. Listen, when you want to start negotiating, you had better have a case. I mean, never watched Perry Mason? You had better have a case, right? And if you can document because of bad foundation or this, that, and the other, that the seller has these problems, the beauty in that method is that the seller has the porcupine now, meaning now that the inspection's been on and a buyer and the inspection reveals the roof, it's got mold, blah, blah, blah. If the buyer walks away, the seller still has the porcupine. But now let's just assume Tanner can't. All right, Tanner. We both agreed it's not 40,000. Maybe at best it's 2,000, or maybe at best it's 5,000. So, are you really saying? Do you? All right. So I'm trying to be soft ending. If you were the seller, and somebody came back, with an inspection that had several $1,000s, but they wanted $40,000 credit, what would you do?
I wouldn't agree.
Where would you tell them to go? Don't say it online. We're live now. Don't say it live. Now, any questions this far, you guys? I don't want to do all the talking. Any questions on what we've done thus far?
Well, you know, I don't know if it's a question or not, but it seems like to me, just from observing, like we're getting concerned in the weeds, and I'm just saying this very delicately, with style points. You know, and correct me if I'm wrong, they've hired you to do this job for them. It's no different than hiring the doctor or the lawyer, even if they're a doctor or a lawyer. We're catering to them. However, when you go to the doctor, do I want the doctor to tell me the truth, whether it's soft or bad or whatever? Like, I want the guy to tell me the truth, and I want them to go through it methodically with me. And maybe I ask for permission. Can I talk frankly first with you? Or, you know, I can pull a Matt line. You know, is it okay if I just talk direct about this? Can I ask you a harsh question, or can I tell you something harsh about what's going on? So to me, it seems like we're getting caught up in the style perspective of how we're going about explaining this to our client. Now, that's important. Style is important because we want to cater to those. But what's more important at that point?
You know, I really prefer being blunt and straightforward. What I've learned is I set up that in the very beginning. You know, I tell them, listen, you know, I do this for a living, and in times if I come across very direct with, you know, I hope you're not going to get offended. It's just, you know, because it's the core of the business. Is that okay? And then once they say yes, they would say yes. You could text, you could ask direct questions, and I think that's going to clear everything. There's nothing, you know, offensive though. You're just being direct to save time for everybody.
This earlier when Susan asked about setting expectations, this is where that initial conversation or that earlier conversation gets revisited, right? And so and we all have our own style. My style goes something like this. At the beginning, during the orientation, I say something along the lines of, hey, Susan, may I share with you what the process will look like? And when we get to the inspection part, I'll elaborate and I'll say, hey, when you find the home you fall in love with, you're going to have an inspection. Know that when you place your offer on the home, everything, the property and the condition that you visibly saw is what you placed your offer on.
Yeah.
When you have the inspection, what you're looking for are what we call deal breakers, the things that you were not able to see when you walked through the home. So I go through that, right? And I also have that same conversation with the seller because some people get very protective over their homes, and they their egos get hurt if someone points out flaws, that it happens. And then when I'm in a position where a buyer says what Tanner's buyer says, I say something like this: hey, Tanner, so are you saying that if the seller were to address all of those items, then you would pay the $840,000? And you're going to say no, because we know in your mind that you've embellished and you've multiplied the repair prices way beyond realistic numbers.
So you do that without quantifying the repair cost?
Ooh.
Well, I'm using the case of, I don't know what Tanner's, my division is 80% sellers, 20% buyers, right? And usually the buyers are the sellers.
Well, we can do the role play the other way around, which might be a good thing to do. Everyone has a style, and Louise is certainly polished and not as direct. She has a velvet hammer, so to speak. I just use the hammer. However, what I was attempting to model on this kind of the steps, and you can put whatever icing on it you want, is that number one, you should have a conversation. Louise had a conversation up front. Have a conversation up front because the inspection's coming. So let them know it won't be perfect. Never seen a house that had a inspection report come back and was all blank paper. That's so number one. let them know what's going to happen next. Number two, if there are issues, find out. This would be, I'm going to give you 3 points. The second point, Tanner, is find out, are you still interested in the house if this can be mitigated? If it's a no, okay, and you're in a seller's market, are you saying you want to start this marathon all over again or finish this one?
Can I just ask, because I had a client that was like, no, it was a first time home buyer. No, it's just too much because the house was built in 1900. And even if they fix everything, there's going to be more issues down the line. So she didn't get her earnest money back. And I didn't know how to like handle that situation because she wouldn't even do the repair request.
I got it. So, all right. So really quick, Nicole. So basically, and I don't know, you're in Wichita lineman. Oh, great song. And by the way, does anyone remember who sang Wichita Lineman? Little trivia. Going back to Farrah Fawcett days. Come on. All right. So I would say, so what you're saying, Nicole, is we're not looking at any more historic homes, correct?
Okay.
Because just the way you phrase that, even if everything was done, there's going to be more problems. What they're saying is, no matter what old home you have, I'm going to be afraid there's going to be ongoing problems. Like, don't marry anybody over 40. They're going to break down. So I'll be out of luck. So did we beat that enough, Tanner? Susan had her hand up, then Louise, you had, all right, then Glenn. So Susan, what's on your mind, darling?
So I still want to handle, I have a buyer, the go-to letter, which I did. But I want to be able to handle that I'm at the table with them. And do I have the opportunity to ask them at that moment, the first visit or during the preview of the property? Do I have the right, or do I have the timing to ask them, just in case if my buyer doesn't find your home the right fit, would you be open to listen to the property?
So we did this morning. What about
Yes.
that didn't itch that scratch?
Because I feel that I was way too early in the relationship to go for the listing. Like, I want to go for the kill, right? In the first shot rather than dating.
All right, so well, let's see. I think was I the agent on that one?
If you want English, pick up all the little food crumbs, please. Come on.
What was
Oh,
that
I'm so
again?
sorry.
Not on mute. Let me see.
Yeah, Ozzy muted. This time you be the agent, Susan.
Okay. So, Denny, after when we go through this, this is where I trip up because I'm afraid to ask already.
But I role played that, didn't I?
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back again. Okay, so thanks, Susan. Now, this is a letter. She sent out a golden letter. It's not her listing. The seller called, hey, look, I might sell my house. So I'm over there now. I'm the agent to preview the house. And Susan wants to go for the listing right away. And that's what she's struggling with. Is it all right to, skip the milkshake and go right to the Motel 6, really, so to speak, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, why screw around? No pun intended. So all right. So I'm at the table. You are the seller, and I'm going to say, okay. So we got the appointment set for tomorrow, and I appreciate it. We're gonna show the home, and so number one, I've consummated the transaction. I'm going to get off that metaphor, okay? But it sounds like I'm still on it. I've consummated that transaction. We've set the appointment. She showed me the house. I'm sitting with her. Now, here's where you have to have there's nothing wrong with this question, but you can be more direct. So I'm kind of curious, if this buyer likes it and you're going to sell it and you're going to move on, tell me what you're going to do next. So you might future pace. There's a word Louise would bring into this. Now you can future pace them. Tell me what you will do next. What I'm attempting to do is get her into the ether of it's sold. Now I'm going to go do whatever. I'm going to go live in Birdbathville. And then it would be appropriate to say, okay, well, all right, let me ask you, if this buyer doesn't want it, would you want me to find you another one? So you can get the bird bath bill. So you might want to take a little crumb of the cookie before you ask for the whole package. So I'm going to
Okay.
ask you that, Susan, if this buyer doesn't work out, I mean, I saw your eyes light up when you talked about moving. If this buyer doesn't work out, would you let me help you find another one?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Well, ideally, when would you actually like to be moved? Now it's turning into a listing interview. Now you're familiar with that spot.
Yes.
Now I gave you an easy transition there, future pace them a little bit and say, well, you know, and then if this buyer doesn't want it, would you want me to help you? Notice I didn't ask anything about listing. Would you
Right.
like me to help you get there?
Mhm.
Well, what do you mean? Well, I work with a lot of buyers and I have contact with a lot of agents have buyers. Would you like to have a conversation about how I could get you there? Boom. Now you're in a listing now you're in a listing interview.
So when you do that, when you ask that question as a seller, because I'm coming in that you have a buyer, right? So are you gonna go out there and look for another buyer without me putting the house on the market?
Well, I'm not going to go door knocking looking for a buyer for her home. But in the course of my business, I've always got my eyes and ears open to a potential buyer. And again, if you want to nurture her, for example, this is how you would follow up with somebody that maybe she didn't want to bite on the listing right away. You've already established some sort of relationship with her, and you might say, "Hey, listen, I just want to let you know I held an open house this past weekend. I had 7 buyers come through, and so we're working with them, and I'm going to find out if they want to head your way. I don't know if they really want to be in that neighborhood, but just staying in touch with you. Is your home still available?" You're letting her know you've been working with 2, 3, 18. You're working with buyers all the time. You're coming into buyers all the time. Eventually, she might be ready to listen. It's no different. What she is she's a for sale by owner with no sign in the yard.
Got it. All right, so let's say hypothetically, what has to happen? I know there's a lot of sellers that wants to sell and they become expired because they have nowhere to go. They don't have the end in mind, right? Isn't that true? Mostly sellers, everyone, like the true sellers that need to sell are the one that are in financial, the true sellers are the one that financially in trouble.
I got it. They need to sell, right? I got it.
Right? Those are the one that needs to sell. But the one that needs to downsize, I'm thinking about downsizing. In this case, it's a 4,200 square feet house, husband and wife, all the kids are grown, and they're looking to downsize to Redondo Beach. But when I'm trying to figure out, they have no idea. They're giving me this, oh, I'm gonna rent, I may buy if I find the right home. So I don't know their truly intention now. Right?
Well,
Because
right.
they don't know where they're going.
So hang on to that just for a second. That'll be number 2. I think Glenn had his hand up. I want to make sure I get these hands. Glenn, what was your thought or question?
I really had a question. It was back to that home inspection question before Susan. I was on your page when the home inspection revealed about $1,000 worth of repairs. And California, okay, 10,000. But then when we get up to 40, aren't we kind of getting into an ethics and a trust issue? Because they should be on the seller's disclosure. Shouldn't that be evidence somewhere? I mean, $40,000, is a lot for repairs. Wouldn't that take the trust out of the buyers? And wouldn't the buyer's agent be responsible for making the seller update? Because I had a water in the seller situation and my people talked to me about it. I had texts about it, but in the seller's disclosure, they wrote no past. So
Let me just answer that. The $40,000, not, we talk about this all the time with the numbers. It's not, we need, if it's a $200,000 house, it's significant. If it's a $3 million house, it's not as significant, right? So the percentage, but what you're saying, and I don't know about Wichita, yeah, it would certainly be a disclosable issue if maybe the seller didn't know, but after that inspection, it certainly will be a disclosable issue, and that would have to be disclosed to sell it. I have found when in Tanner's situation, there's a few $1,000s repair and they want a $40,000 bump. That is, and I'm a little bit wacky with my sense of humor. Now the buyer is picking up and rolling a little sweet and low joint to smoke, right? And I find, and this is my way of finding out, okay, well, if I can't document it, I will reverse the situations. If you were the seller, Tanner, and the buyer, wants you to discount your house 40 grand for $3,000 worth of work, and you were the seller, Tanner, how could I convince you to do that? Anyway, so your point is well taken, but again, we'd have to put some context. Where are you, Glenn?
Right now, I'm up in Pennsylvania, but my wife and I have a condo as our primary residence right in Cape Coral.
Oh, the worst market in the country.
Well, yeah, we did really well, and then Ian came. Yep, we were down there for a year, and Ian came, but he's forgetting JC Park.
Yeah. Yeah. So very rare to find it in Florida in our area, unless the house has two strap numbers, meaning it was built on one and Ian took it to another one. Have $40,000 worth of damage. So let me pop back over to Susan. Susan, the conversation we're having, I'm going to answer the question you have and just put it back in the front of my mind right now because I can't find it.
So it's really, we need to, in order for a seller to sell, they have to find where they're going next.
Got
right?
it. So they don't have the motivation, right? So, all right. So are they a seller? Are they a seller?
They claim they are. They say they need to downsize.
So I'm going to open it up to everyone now so you don't fall asleep on me and let me do all the talking. Then I'll have to go get salt water and gargle. Does anyone ever gargle anymore? My parents do that all the time. So I think it's weird. So, all right. So let's ask Susan let's give Susan a series of questions. We'll do one question, Louise. Let them raise their hand so you can visually see it. What question would you ask when you got someone, they don't have a financial need, they would like to maybe have a house on the beach in the mountains one day, but they don't seem to have motivation? What are some good questions to ask? Who wants to go?
What would having a home in the mountains do for you and your family?
All right, that's one. Now you get to that and they're going to get into the emotion side of their motivation. What else? One question, we'll move on. Tanner, do you have a question? You have your hand up.
So, I would transition then just so you want me to help you and all that. And I would before I promise you anything, Susan, or make any connection, can you help me understand about the home? What are you really trying to do?
Okay. Any other good questions you use to figure out somebody's motivation? Well, I'm going to add, here's one question comes to mind. Go ahead, Francisco.
How soon do you have to be there?
Well, there's no have to. This is of the seller that does not have to. They just want to. So now the question would be, okay, if you already know their motivation, this is a learning point, guys. If they don't have to be somewhere, never use that word. When would you like to be there? Does that make sense? When would you like to be there, Susan?
By January.
I'm sorry?
By January
What year?
next year.
I would say that. I mean, maybe that, all right, yeah. So by next January. Okay, so, but wait a minute. You were telling me that you're supposed to be some sort of seller that really isn't motivated. When you say you want to be there by January, I mean, we should be lighting some fires and kicking the tires now.
So what I did was
No. We're going to stay in role play.
okay.
You brought up the question, so we get to answer the question.
Okay.
So that doesn't sound like a seller that has no motivation.
They do. But I think ultimately it's price.
Oh,
I think it's ultimate, but I don't know that because when I asked them for price, they were dancing around with it.
All right, well, you be that seller and dance with me.
Okay.
Right? We've already had the milkshake. Now we're dancing. All right. So are you ready to move forward, Susan?
Yeah, if if the price is right.
Okay. And what is that number?
I don't know. I mean, I see homes that selling for 3.8, and then you have one that's selling for 2.9, that close at 2.9.
Okay. And you want to have a house on the beach, right?
Yeah.
Is that why you're selling?
Well, I would like to be closer to the west side,
Closer to the what?
to Venice.
Venice. Okay. Oh, I see. You get to rollerblade. All right. So do you have to sell in order to buy?
No, I always bought homes cash.
All right. So why don't you buy first, then sell?
Good question. Well, there's no need to have extra costs.
Okay. Now you guys, I mean, we won't know, as Kelly says, no style points here. At some point in time, when the directions, the cab driver, you did not give them good directions. They're sitting at an intersection. You have to know which way to go. So how can I help you, Susan?
Yeah, just bring me a buyer for the right price.
Okay, so so you want me to, this is the smart aleck in me. I'm going to advertise. I've got this seller that wants to sell at the right price. Pick your number. Is that what you want me to do? What's the right price, Susan?
I want to be realistic, maybe 4 million.
Why not 5? Now, the reason I'm saying that, did you hear her upswing? Was she confident in that number?
No,
How about 6, 7, 8 bits a dollar, all for
10 billions, right?
All right. This just sounds like a one-off to me. I don't know. I mean, as direct as you are, I can't imagine you being afraid to ask anything.
Well, look, I don't do this. I don't do this golden letter. That's why I'm struggling with it. I could do
There's
expired
nothing
date
to
and day.
struggle. You've got people calling you. I mean, that's reverse lead generation.
I know, right? Just because I don't do this and I don't know how to handle it. That's my biggest challenge. I'm used to expired, but I don't
I've given
know.
you 2 models, one today and one, just now, one this morning. And evidently, maybe I haven't hit oil with you, but it's really pretty simple. If you legitimately have a buyer, if you're lying, you're up a creek.
I do have a buyer. We are going to go see it next Wednesday.
Okay. And the question is, hey, if it doesn't work out, would you like me to help you find a buyer? That is, you want to go for a milkshake? We're not talking about marriage yet. How can I help you? Maybe they'll give you a one-time listing. Maybe hey, look, would you give me 30 days to see if I can find your buyer? Start dating them. And you know what? If they say no, what have you lost?
You say,
all right, that's enough.
I think that
Bail me out.
That could be a great comeback if somebody asks you, do you have a buyer? Would you like to help you find one?
Yeah, what happens next Wednesday, though, when your buyer calls you 20 minutes before the showing and says, hey, I don't think I want to go today?
It's possible.
Yeah, now if you've already, I guess now if you've already preset, hey, look, if something happens and my buyer can't make it, would it be okay if I help you find a buyer?
So I did actually, this is for real. She's a intensive care doctor. So I did precurse this. I said, hey, just in case if she does get a call and she's on call, if she doesn't make it, are you okay with that? So I did set that up. I did tee that up.
Go ahead. We go ahead and reschedule it, right? You're setting up 2 appointments. If something doesn't happen, can we go ahead and schedule another one just in case? But
all right, Kelly, so you bring up a good point. So if here's the thing that would be going through your mind that you're worried about going through the seller's mind. It was all just a scam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The best way to deal with that is, okay, so I'm gonna call you Kelly. Kelly, you're that seller, and my potential buyer ghosted me. Hey, Kelly, hey, listen, I know you're busy. I just really fast. The buyer called me and wanted to cancel the appointment. So I'll follow up to see if I can get more information. And I apologize. My question is, I do a lot of work in this area. We had an appointment set. Although I don't have the appointment with the buyer, would it be okay if I could at least preview your home so I have firsthand knowledge of it in case I find another? And believe me, no conversation whatsoever. Listing won't come up. I won't even say a word that begins in L or ends in ing, because if you use that, they'll think you're lying.
Yeah. Yeah, I think setting up the broker preview is paramount anyway, right?
Well, yeah, and Matt would say, well, I know if you want to fire me before you hire me, I wouldn't blame you, but this is really legit. Although I'd like to be able to help you if I can.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be authentic. You have to have
Yes.
logical responses. And
yes, if that happens, if you're authentic, that's the key word, Kelly.
And you have to have some empathy for them because they've probably cleaned their house up, ready for the showing. You know this is going on. And so you can't build trust unless you have those three things, right?
There you go. So, Louise, who else put little types in there? We've got a few more minutes before we have to get my costume on.
Let's see. I don't see.
So while you're doing that, all right, tonight, I'll let you guys know. First time ever, my daughter does this big thing for Halloween. And so I'm in town. I'm going to go and set up an adult hydration station. Because yes, all these people and the parents stand there, they're parched and they probably wish they had a martini or something. So I'm going to have a lot of like witch's brew, some beer, ghost teenies. It's a coconut martini. It looks like a ghost. What do you think of that idea? You like it or not? Put it in the chat.
I love it. I think it's such a good way to get clients.
Yeah, get them liquored up. That'll work.
Did you rent the neighborhood train for the kids and just let the parents walk behind the train?
We want to throw the kids in a bounce house and lock it so that we can have cigars and drink margaritas. All right, who's next? Come on.
Oksana has a situation.
Okay.
Do you see it in the chat, or do you want her to share that with you?
Thank you. So the situation is my husband has a business where he works with seniors, and one of his clients that he had for several years now facing death of the partner. He has cancer. And so basically her daughter, she made a plan to buy a home for her mother ahead of passing of her dad. And I feel like she's pushing her mom to make the decision that she's not capable of. So I let that sit and I stepped away from bothering the family because of the tragedy. But now I know that the person passed and I don't know how to initiate the communication again because I don't want to look like I'm an insensitive person.
Like an ambulance chaser.
Yes. What should I do? How should I approach it so I wouldn't come across in the wrong way? So, now that he is gone, let me just do the business.
Well, first,
I know.
Go ahead, Louise.
I was just going to say, I know how I would approach it. I heard from a financial planner many years ago that you shouldn't make major decisions within 6 months of a life event, and that's a life event. So I would express my condolences in person if you could. And if you feel like it's appropriate, say, because it's a very good rule of thumb to not make major decisions after a period of time after a life event like this happens. I want you to know that I'll be here for you then. Would it be okay if I followed up with you at that time? I wouldn't want them to think that I'm chasing them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would really fast. I agree with Louise. I would, if there's a wake, if that's already passed, I would send them a sympathy card. I would reach out as a human. Now, again, generally speaking, in most parts of the country, what Kelly was talking about, if you come across with authenticity, most of the time it will be accepted properly. The only difference, Louise, for me is I would reach out with a sympathy card and I wouldn't mention anything about what I do for a living. That's just how I would roll. Susan wants to go for the kill right away, but that would be
I don't know if they already had the conversation, like if they started talking about it. If they did, I would, but if they didn't, yeah, I would absolutely just send a sympathy
I think
card.
there
and
was
have
a
them know.
relationship before it happened. I'm assuming that, but here's what I would do is that I'm sure there's some marketing pieces that you do to people you've worked with, maybe that neighborhood. I would then make sure that I'm sending out some things to people and she gets one. Or she's going to see your
yes.
name and it's a general mailing.
Right. So I got her subscribed to the MLS and she regularly checks it, but it's the daughter. I feel, I don't know, I'm not sure. It seems like that she's the main decision maker and I'm not sure how to come around it because it seems like mother gets the pressure, but the daughter is the one who wants to push everything forward. So I think it's a complicated family situation as well.
Hey,
There almost always are. And again, you'll have to trust your instincts. I'm just going to say if they're responding to the drip campaign, asking questions like in the home, you can then, I would hover, be responsive. And it sounds like the daughter is the gatekeeper. She's the one is, in the computer. I would then work on developing a very significant mind share with the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
At some point in time, particularly if she's responding to the drip, if the loss of the husband, father is not even in part of the conversation. Now we're talking business.
Mm-hmm.
And if she responds to a certain house, blah, 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 you give her more information. If that house goes pending, hey, Louise, whatever her name happens to be, the house you liked, last week is now pending, but did you happen to look at the one on Main Street?
Mm-hmm.
See if you can get into a conversation, even if it's via email.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? That's the way I'd handle it versus going
So
right.
should I keep the distance so I wouldn't come across in the wrong way instead of calling? Maybe approach it from far away with the email direction of the properties that she liked, or should I see send her text or even the phone call?
What if if the daughter is the one that's pushing it, are you able to ask the daughter why she feels there's an urgency? Because it's been your understanding that major life decisions shouldn't be made after a certain period of time.
But who says that?
It seems like the mother is not able to make the decisions because she got some health condition like dementia. So that's why she's trying to push things her way so she would get everything settled. She's a teacher and her mind is really controlling. So she's trying to control the situation to her best. She's the only child and that's how she always dealt with this.
All right,
I'm
so
assuming.
Let me put a bow in this. You're playing pickleball. You're hitting a ball over the net with information on your drip. She's hitting the ball back. What I want you to do is when you hit the ball back, be a little bit more informative, a little bit more inquisitive, meaning don't just ignore it. That a lot of people hit your drips or look at a home and you don't even pay attention to it. I want you to respond to when she hits the ball. I want you to hit the ball back. And every time you do, I want you to try to get closer to her. Oh, here's the metaphor. Approach the net. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. Yes.
If I may, Oksana, when you reach out back to her, maybe instead of asking, just like, let me know if you need any help with strategizing your business, or if you need to find out values, some kind of like a value. Get back to them with some kind of value. If you need this, if you need that, maybe she'll respond, and then you take it from there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you so much.
Sana, I would be concerned if you didn't reach out just as a human being. Forget about the business side of it. They already know you're in the business. Your business is going to continue for everybody else the same way. But in this situation, there's a lot of authenticity and integrity to your relationship with that family by recognizing what's going on. So you know, for what it's worth for me, assuming a lot of these things probably is stopping you from actually just going and talking to these people just as a human being, as they're going through this situation, because none of it's easy. None of it's easy on the daughter. None of it's easy on the mother, whether, you know, everything's assumed there, but none of it's easy there because this lady's still alive, right? She has
Right,
home, she has
yes.
values, and, you know, but I think just going at this from a human perspective does more for you than any sort of strategy you can bring to them, because they know if you have that, you have integrity in your business.
That's true because we're professionals. We got a lot of relationships with different businesses, and it doesn't have to be about the house. Maybe let me know. I've got a lot of relationships. I could find somebody for your mom. Just like if you come with some kind of value, I believe they might be more responsive.
Right,
Well,
right.
And
she's-
also,
Oksana,
did-
I want to ask you a question. Oksana, is it possible that she's looking for a house for herself as well? Because if she has dementia, do you think having a house will help her?
Their
She is
mother's
looking
not
for a
even
house in the
involved yet.
same neighborhood as herself, the daughter. And I did show several homes nearby, and that's how it was evident to me to see the struggle between the two generations. We were sitting in the living room, and the daughter was pushing because the house is right across the street, and the mother was hesitant because she was grieving. She was not accepting the fact that the partner of her life is going, and she just wasn't ready, and it was just too much.
hey, Oksana, does the daughter have power of attorney for the mom?
Yes.
All right, so
Yeah, I will just stay and to show my compassion towards the family. And
here's
that's
here's
the
here's
great
the thing I want you to
timeline,
remember.
6 months.
This bottom line. They're not grieving. They're not grieving. The wife doesn't even hardly remember, probably, if she's got dementia.
Mm-hmm.
And the mother and the daughter wasn't really acting in the parents, mom's, dad's best interest before the guy died.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she's grieving.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the mom's out of the picture, but I agree with Louise's advice. You acknowledge the death sympathy card. I agree with Kelly, come from authenticity. But if she's responding to you, she's got an itch, scratch it. If she's responding to your MLS, that's a sign she's kicking the tires.
Okay.
Anyone dying? Robert, are you here? He was here. Yeah, you're right. How can I help you? I love that. Anyone want to throw one at me before we go? Come on, it's Halloween. Be spooky.
Hey, Danny. So let's let's pretend just like the Susan's scenario a little bit. So you came in, you did not have a buyer. We met, and now you want to reach out to me back to check on my house. I haven't listed it yet. How would you get back to me?
Okay, so when I ask you, all right, the buyer didn't want the house, I ask, hey, look, I asked that, hey, if this buyer doesn't want the house, would you want to have a conversation about how I can help you find a buyer? I asked you that question. How did you answer that?
So I would go a little harder. Okay, so I said, well, Danny, my expectation was that you would come with the buyer and you have somebody qualified to, get it done.
Yes, we do. We have an appointment set for tomorrow, but I'm saying if this buyer does not want the home, would you like me to continue to help you find a buyer? Susan has a buyer. She's already set the appointment. She's going to have the showing if the buyer doesn't ghost her.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I misunderstood the scenario a little bit.
That's okay. But if you're out there, if you, like I said before, if you don't have a buyer, if you're like fibbing, pants on fire type guy, now you're previewing the home, you got a problem.
Yeah, like you say, you gotta work from integrity. I don't send out letters. I have a buyer and I don't have a buyer. I think that's BS.
I did that in the past, and it backfired. Absolutely, people just realized that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's a
You're being-
difference, right? Between there are buyers looking in your area, other than saying, I have a buyer.
Yep.
Last point, guys. You already know, we've already talked about it. Matt's had a conversation about it with you guys. What the Fed does not have anything to do with long-term rates. In fact, basically the mortgage rates went up a little bit when the rates went down. But do you know what the rate is? I looked this week. 30-year fix was 6.19, 15 was 5.5 or some crazy 5.3. Yeah, 5.3. Interest rates can no longer be an issue for a buyer. I mean, in up north, I grew up in Ohio. I don't know where the conversation came from. I'll have to ask Chat GPT. What do the buyers want? Egg in their beer? It's under 6.25.
Yeah.
The lowest rate we've had in a couple of years is 6. What do they want? So if you have a buyer that wants to wait because the interest rates are too high, if they have motivation, you need to rob their cupboards, take all their sweet and low away from them. They need to get real. I don't know how much better. And even if they went down to 6, you're talking about less than a cup of coffee a day. Y'all hear me on this? So don't fall for that.
I know,
Yeah,
but
do
Denny,
not
how do
fall
you
for
drive that home with them?
It may be good to this could go in a drip campaign. You know, I do this on weekly updates on social media. I talk about the 10-year yield and the effect on mortgage rates. Interest rates really as a psychological game with buyers. They see interest rates going down, they think mortgage rates are going down, right? But the connection there is none, right? Because the Fed's not picking winners and losers, and they're definitely not going to pick the housing market. So once they look at the 10-year, once you figure out the 10-year yield, generally it follows mortgage rates generally follow the 10-year yield, not all the time, most of the time, but the biggest thing is affordability, right? So if you can say the difference between 6.29% and 6% is $2.40 a day, or a cup of coffee, or $73 a month, or $80 a month, then it might bring things into perspective a little bit better with affordability.
I think a great, along with that same headline there, a line of thought, Kelly, is how about a post that says something like, if people are not buying today at today's interest rate, they're not serious about owning. If they would rather buy a cup of coffee a day instead of have home ownership, they're not serious.
I think that's going to be my next story that goes up this afternoon. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I'll just take a 25% referral fee.
You can call my wife and ask her about that.
All right, guys. Anything else before we go? I appreciate you being on.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again about the cup of coffee?
It would be a post. Anyone that would rather buy a 7-Eleven cup of coffee versus owning a home, which is basically the same thing, you're not serious about ownership.
Thank you.
Call me and I'll tell you why. I don't know. What do you think, Kelly? A little ballsy?
No, I think it's for the world we live in. It's a headline catcher, and it's not over 3 minutes. It's 30 seconds, so it catches the attention. Call if you have any more questions about what I'm saying. Pretty simple in the post, and that's something easily explained in 30 seconds. The algorithm will catch it in Facebook and YouTube, and they'll keep your post open longer to more people.
You still have time to do a Halloween post. Anybody see my Halloween post I posted yesterday? Go to my socials. And the thumbnail says how to the horror of selling in a buyer's market.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
Go look me up on I don't know where it is. Somewhere.
Instagram.
Yeah. All right, guys. Love you. Meet it. Luis, thanks for being in the control tower. Bye.
Have a good one.